Welcome in the arena. My name's Allyson Klein, and today we've got an exciting episode lined up as part of our AI Infra Summit series. We've got Daniel Wu with Stanford with us. Daniel, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you for having me, Allison.
Now, Daniel, you have an incredible background in tech, but can you just start with giving us a little bit of information about the Stanford program for advancing AI adoption and how you got involved with it?
Absolutely, and thank you for asking. It's a pleasure to be here. I've had the pleasure of serving as a course facilitator for Stanford's AI professional program, which was first launched back in 2019. The goal is to help professionals around the world build practical AI skills. It's been remarkable to witness the program's growth. When we began, the program was centered on a single highly technical course in natural language processing, and our learners were predominantly from tech backgrounds. But fast forward to today, 6 years after, the program has expanded significantly. We now offer 7 distinct courses that cover everything from AI foundations to specialized areas like reinforcement learning, deep generative models, and even our latest highly demanded addition on computer vision. What's most inspiring to me, however, is the evolution of the learner community itself. Today,
Mhm.
our cohorts include a much wider range of professions. We have physicians, executives, teachers, and product managers learning alongside software engineers. We see learners from nonprofits and government and all seeking together to understand how to apply this technology in their fields. This really gets to the heart of my passion. This democratization of knowledge creates a powerful, what I call butterfly effect. It starts by transforming an individual's career, but it eventually materializes into wider AI adoption that changes their organization, their industry, and ultimately the world we all live in today. Being a part of that journey is a true privilege to me.
That's so awesome. And as I was thinking about the curriculum you were describing, one thing I was thinking about is the pace that AI innovation is moving and how to keep engagement current. It must be a real challenge for the team. What do you think is the most exciting development or trend in AI that you're seeing right now?
Well, that's the defining question of our time. Everybody
Hmm.
wants to know the answer to that question. And you're right, the pace is accelerating. And while there are dozens of fascinating trends, I see 3 or 4 major trends that are truly shaping the landscape right now. The first is agentic AI, and this is the
Hmm.
clear start of the moment, and it's also a central theme of this year's summit. We're moving beyond models that simply respond to prompts and toward more autonomous systems that can reason, plan, and execute complex tasks to achieve a goal. The business potential is staggering. A brand new report from Markets and Markets, published, in fact, just yesterday, projects that the agentic AI market will grow from approximately 13.8 billion US dollars this year to over 140 billion US dollars by 2032. That's a compound annual growth rate about 40%. So isn't just a hype. It's backed by also major investment, with Forbes noting over 2 billion US dollars has poured into agentic startups since 2022, all kind of aiming to build this next generation of AI workers. So that's the first trend. The second closely related trend is embodied AI, which is essentially giving agentic AI a physical body to interact with the world.
Wow.
Think AI combined with advanced robotics.
Right.
We are seeing incredible progress here. Companies like Tesla with Optimus and
Hmm.
Figure AI, which is backed by OpenAI and other tech giants. They're developing humanoid robots that can perform tasks in warehouses, factories, and eventually our homes.
Hmm.
This is no longer science fiction. A recent report, I think from Global Newswire, highlighted that 2025 is seen as the first year of mass production for industrial and automotive manufacturing robots. Looking forward, the World Economic Forum also suggested that um, billions of humanoid robots could be operating across the world by 2040. So that's pretty exciting future that we're seeing and starting now as a trend. A foundational trend that power these agents and robots is multimodal AI. So this is kind of the foundation these technology build upon. This is the ability for AI to understand and process information from different sources simultaneously. You have text, images, audio, and video, just like humans do. This is critical for an AI to operate in a real messy world. Um,
Hmm.
the growth here mirrors the rest of the industry. President's research estimated that multimodal AI market will leap from about 2.5 billion US dollars in 2025 to over 42 billion US
Wow.
dollars by 2034. And so this is the enabling technology that makes agents smarter and robots more aware. And finally, and perhaps the most important, is the trend towards trustworthy AI. All these information innovation is creating immense pressure to address the biggest hurdle to adoption. In my opinion, it's the trust. The reality is a recent global study from KPMG found that AI adoption has dramatically outpaced governance. And what that means is, a staggering 44% of US workers admit to using AI improperly at work, and only
Hmm.
41% of people in the US are willing to trust AI systems. So this is validated also by Stanford's HAI Index Report 2025, which tracked a record 233 AI-related incidents and failures in 2024. So building robust, ethical, and reliable systems is not just about a trend. It's an absolute necessity for any of the technology to realize its true potential. And that's also a core part of what I'm passionate about, and I will be touching on in my keynote this year.
That's awesome. We recently featured an article about robotics on the Tech Arena platform and said that with everybody talking about agentic AI in 2025, we'll all be talking about robotics in 2026 in the same way as those systems start rolling out.
Yeah.
And, I recently hosted a discussion on agentic AI integration into the workforce for semiconductor manufacturing. And I guess one thing that if they can use that for semiconductor manufacturing, they really can use it for anything. So my question to you is, as we look at all of these industries and use cases, and you talked about how many folks are coming into the Stanford program from different backgrounds. What do you think are the most impactful areas that are emerging that are going to reshape work and open up new opportunity for business and societal advancement?
Um, well, that's a fantastic question, Allison. What we see today, the headlines and the news headlines often focus on the tech giants building these incredible foundation models, and that work is absolutely critical. I believe the most profound and lasting impact will come from the application of AI in specific vital domains. And I see a few key areas where this is already happening. First is AI for science. So we're entering a new era of accelerating discovery.
Hmm.
AI can analyze massive complex data sets at a scale no human team ever could. And a prime example of this is what Google DeepMind did with AlphaFold a couple of years back. which solved a 50-year-old grand challenge of protein folding. And the Stanford AI Index report for 2025 also highlights how this is expanding very rapidly by using AI for scientific discovery. AI is now being used to design novel materials, discover new drug compounds, and even enhance wildfire prediction. So McKinsey recently published an analysis suggesting that AI could effectively double the pace of R&D, which will unlock the immense economic and human value. So that's the first kind of area I'm excited about. And that naturally leads directly into the second area is AI for healthcare. The potential here is transformative. It goes beyond just operational efficiency. And we're talking about fundamentally changing outcomes. For example, the market for AI in drug discovery is projected to grow to over 16.5 billion US dollars by 2034. And this will drastically shortening the timeline for developing new medicines. Furthermore, AI is the engine for true personalized medicine, which can analyze a person's genetic makeup and lifestyle to recommend tailored treatments. A recent study I saw also showed that some AI diagnostic tools are already outperforming doctors in specific complex cases, like cancer detection from medical imaging. This showcased the power of human AI collaboration to enhance healthcare. Now, the third and critical for our future is AI for education. And this is one of the reasons I'm staying connected with Stanford. So we have a chance to move beyond the one-size-fits-all classroom model. AI-powered platforms can create personalized learning paths for every student, adapting in real time to their strengths and weaknesses. The Economic Forum projects that AI in education market will explode from around 5 billion US dollars today to over 112 billion US dollars by 2034. So more importantly, studies have shown that these adaptive learning systems can actually improve student test scores by over 60%. And this will help to close achievement gaps and better prepare our next generation for an AI native world. And the fourth area, which I believe is one of the greatest responsibilities, is AI for climate and sustainability. AI is a uniquely powerful tool for tracking this global challenge. And a joint report by BCG and Google found that AI could actually contribute to reducing global greenhouse gas emission by 5 to 10%. And this is
Wow.
huge because that is a equivalent of the entire annual emissions of the United States. And so AI could do this, could achieve this by optimizing energy grids, creating more efficient supply chains, monitoring deforestation in real time, and accelerating the development of new climate resilient materials. And finally, bring all this into our physical world is AI combined with robotics, which I just
Mhm.
mentioned. This is where AI leaves the digital realm and begins to physically shape our world. We're seeing robots deploy in manufacturing, logistics, and increasingly in service roles. The global density of robots has more than doubled in the last 7 years, and this will fundamentally reshape the nature of work, automating dangerous and repetitive tasks and freeing up human potential for more creative, strategic, and empathetic roles. And of course, each of these revolutionary opportunities brings profound new challenges as well. You know, there are ethical dilemmas, societal shifts, and questions of governance. So ensuring all these tools are developed and developed responsibly is a critical work that underpins all the potential progress.
That's so awesome that you talked about DeepMind because they just came out recently with their open genome, which seems to be on parallel with having an impact in medical field as well as the protein folding did.
Yeah.
It's incredible advancement, and really speaks to how this technology is fundamentally shaping our world. I wanted to go a little bit closer into the Stanford program itself and talk
Mhm.
about new tools and technologies that you've seen discussed and worked on within that Stanford program that have excited you in terms of how this technology is helping to shape different types of job functions, how it's helping to shape new capabilities for organizations.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think I would instead of like specific tools, I would like point out like the types of tools because I think with the speed of AI accelerating by day is essentially it is important to kind of look at the categories of tools and pay attention to them. And the first kind of category, I think, are the tools that focus on supercharging human productivity right now. And I think most people are now familiar with AI copilots, right? And assistants that help us write emails or, even, coding, right, with coding tasks. But there's a real shift that's highlighted in a recent kind of Accenture technology vision report. It's a trend that we see where AI is moving from a simple tool that people kind of use to a true collaborator, that a partner, if you will, to accomplish tasks, right? And so that's a kind of the important trend to pay attention to in the tooling side, as now AI is more proactive. Instead of just waiting to be given task and deliver the result, AI can be a partner, even help with more creative tasks and planning, more complex planning tasks. Um, and so so that's one area. Productivity tools are great.
Mhm.
This is usually the incentive for business and industry to go into adoption, right? They look at the benefits that can be achieved by these tools. But I think what excites me more is going step beyond just like these productivity gain. The second category of tools I think is really exciting, and it speaks to my passion for democratization. Are the technologies designed to bridge the digital divide? And digital divide is a reality. If you look around the world, their communities and underserved countries, you know, population that don't have access to digital technology, and that's a significant setback for their development and in every area. So while productivity goals are great, they primarily benefit those who are already equipped with these tools and technology. I'm more excited about AI-powered accessibility tools that empower everyone. The World Health Organization estimated that 2.5 billion people need at least one assistive product, and the number will expect to grow to 3.5 billion by 2050. And AI is meeting this need in incredible ways. Think of real-time transcription services that are now accurate enough for people who are deaf or hard of hearing to participate fully in conversations, or AI-driven text-to-speech tools that can help someone with dyslexia absorb written content. And this is a technology that doesn't just create business value, it creates opportunity and dignity, which is why UNESCO is now championing AI literacy as a foundational skill for inclusion in the 21st century. And finally, the third type of tools, and this is truly the frontier, are the
Mhm.
tools making the previously impossible now possible. And I'm talking about generative physical AI. This is a concept NVIDIA is pioneering, where AI models understand the laws of physics. And Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, recently stated that physical AI will revolutionize the trillion US dollar worth of manufacturing logistic industries. So they've developed a world foundation models like Cosmos, which are essentially simulated physically accurate universes where you can train a robot or an autonomous vehicle before it ever touches the real world. This dramatically collapsed the cost and time to develop automation for highly complex tasks. So on the same frontier is AI for fundamental science, right? And I think you mentioned Google DeepMind. It's a project, right? I think back in the end of 23, Google DeepMind announced that its known project, which is the graph networks for materials exploration, had discovered 2.2 million new crystal structures, and of which 380,000 of them are stable materials with the potential to power our future. So these could be materials for better batteries, more efficient solar cells, or even superconductors. And to put that in perspective, this single project generated a volume of knowledge equivalent to nearly 800 years of prior humans' discovery. So for me, it's that entire spectrum, the tool we talk about, enhancing our work today, ensuring everyone can participate tomorrow, and tackling humanity's grand scientific challenges in ways that we can never do alone.
Now, you're going to be speaking at AI Infra Summit. You mentioned your keynote. What are you hoping to see at the summit, and how do you think the conversations there will shape the future of AI infrastructure?
Yeah, Allyson, I'm incredibly excited for this year's summit. For me, a summit like this is where the theoretical meets the practical. And there are three main areas I'm eager to dive into. First, as a technologist, right,
Hmm.
I'm focusing on the technical level. I want to see the state of the art advancements across the entire AI tech stack. That means everything from custom silicon and new chip architectures designed for reasoning, all the way up to the latest in ML operation, and now many are calling LLM ops. The
Hmm.
complexity of managing, monitoring, and scaling these new models requires a completely new playbook, and this is the place to see it, being written. Second area, I'm looking forward to seeing more creative and widespread applications of AI from
Hmm.
outside the tech industry specifically. We're at a point where the conversations is shifting from can we build it to how is it creating value in healthcare, finance, manufacturing, and other sectors. And seeing these real world case studies, including the challenges and the successes, is invaluable for understanding where the infrastructure needs to evolve. And my third hope, and this is a critical one, is to see a major focus on the infrastructure for trustworthy AI again. As I mentioned, adoption is outpacing governance. And so also a recent World Bank report emphasized that building trust requires robust technical frameworks for things like AI auditing, real-time monitoring for bias, and explainability by design. So I'm keen to hear how the infrastructure community is building the tools and platforms that make responsible AI not just an ethical ideal, but a scalable operational reality. And to add one more point directly related to my keynote, I'm specifically looking for conversations around the unique infrastructure needed for agentic AI.
Hmm.
Autonomous systems, as you know, that can reason, plan, and act require more than just raw compute power. They actually need ultra low latency for real-time decision making, new memory architectures for maintaining long-term context, and complex orchestration frameworks. So I think the discussions we have here about building this agentic infrastructure will be pivotal. And ultimately, um, The true strength of the AI community is our willingness to share knowledge, and that's how the entire field advances. So it's pretty exciting to be part of that, and in bringing experts together, including the hardware engineers, the cloud architects, the data scientists, the product leaders, to debate these challenges and learn from one another is exactly how we'll spark the new ideas that will shape the future of AI. So I have no doubt the conversations at this summit will directly influence the infrastructure that powers the next decade of innovation.
I can't wait to see your session and learn more about those infrastructure requirements because I'm fascinated by the memory and storage architectures required for memory. Um, one thing that you've laid out this amazing landscape of innovation that's coming, Daniel. In your view, when you look at all of that, what do you think is the most critical challenge that the AI industry will face in the next few years? And how can companies and professionals address it?
Yeah, Ellison, I think I touched on this a little bit, and you probably can guess what my answer to this question would be already. So I believe the single most critical challenge we face is not technical, but human. It's the challenge of building trust and confidence at scale. So without trust, we can't achieve widespread, meaningful adoption. A recent Edelman Trust Barometer report I saw highlighted this perfectly. It states that 56% of people are skeptical of business use of AI. And this trust issue is the biggest hurdle we need to overcome. So, how do we address it? I see it as a three-part solution involving people, process, and mindset. And so, first, we have to address the people aspect through what is now a significant AI talent and skills gap. We can't build trustworthy AI if we don't have enough people who know how to do this. So a recent Salesforce study found that only 1 in 10 global workers have in-demand AI skills. And most business leaders don't actually believe their teams are equipped to implement their AI strategies. So the solution here is twofold. Professionals need to proactively engage in continuous learning, like the programs we discussed at Stanford. And companies must invest heavily in upskilling their entire workforce to increase broad AI literacy. Everyone needs to understand the fundamentals to participate confidently and responsibly. Second, we need to mature our process through collaboration and benchmarking for responsible AI. For years, our industry has had robust benchmarks for model performance to measure accuracy, speed, and so on and so forth. We now need that same rigor for safety, fairness, and reliability. This is incredibly challenging. But as the Stanford HAI 2024 AI Index reported, a record we talked about 233 AI-related incidents in 2024, we simply cannot afford to postpone it. And so a great example of the right approach is the National Institute for Standards and Technology, NIST, AI risk management framework, which provides a common language and structure for organizations to manage AI risks. We need more collaborative efforts like this to establish industry-wide standards for trust. And finally, this all requires the right mindset. As leaders and professionals, we have to cultivate a culture that keeps an open mind. This means that being ready to try new things and experiment responsibly. But it also means being ready for bumps and bruises along the way, to see failures as not as catastrophes, but as learning opportunities. We have to be ready to listen to criticism, learn from our mistakes, and change our approach. Ultimately, solving the trust challenge isn't about finding a single silver bullet algorithm. It's about investing in our people, collaborating on our processes, and adopting a mindset of humble continuous improvement.
Now, looking ahead, and I agree with everything you just said, by the way, um,
Thank you.
I want to end with a positive statement, which is what is the vision for the future? If we can tackle that and we can get organizations to get trust across the board in believing that this technology is something that augments human experience, doesn't replace it, that assists in productivity gains, that transforms work in ways that benefit humanity. What do you believe needs to happen to ensure that industries and professions adopt and that this positive impact is felt?
Yeah, when we talk about the future, and I often get asked a lot, during the talk I give elsewhere, and literally around the world about the future and the vision. And this, I call this the ultimate question whenever this get brought up. And it's the one that we all have a stake in, right? We all want to know, and it's important to understand the possibilities. So when we talk about the long-term future of AI, it's easy to kind of jump to the dystopian visions we've all seen in sci-fi movies like Terminator, right? I
Hmm.
get asked a lot. And it's a powerful narrative, but I believe it's a failure of imagination. The reason I'll articulate a bit more here. The advent of artificial general intelligence, or AGI, what some call the singularity, is
Hmm.
undoubtedly the most significant inflection point in human history. And yes, if we're reckless, it could lead to a catastrophic future. But it can also be a future of unprecedented prosperity and problem solving, a future where we overcome humanity's grandest challenges. And the choice is ours to make. My vision is for that more hopeful path. Is a future where AI becomes a great equalizer. Imagine a world with near free AI physicians offering expert healthcare to everyone on the planet, regardless of their location or wealth. Imagine using AI to finally solve intractable problems like climate change by discovering new materials for carbon capture or managing our energy grids with perfect efficiency. This is a future where we amplify human creativity, not replacing it, by giving every mind a collaborator that, as OpenAI once put it, combines the skill of a Curie, a Turing, and a Bach. But this future is not inevitable. It must be built intentionally. So to ensure AI has a positive impact, we must commit to responsible AI as our guiding principle. And this will require us to be deliberate in several key areas, right? The first is governance and accountability. We must establish clear frameworks for who is responsible when AI systems make critical decisions. And this involves global collaboration, like the ongoing efforts discussed at the recent UNESCO Global Forum to create shared standards and policies. And second is safety and alignment. This is a profound technical challenge. We have to ensure that these highly advanced systems are robust, secure from misuse, and that their goals remain aligned with human values and intentions. Third is fairness and inclusivity. We must actively design AI to counteract rather than amplify human biases. A positive AI future is one where it benefits in education, healthcare, and economic opportunity are accessible to all, not just a privileged few. And finally, human oversight. We must always build systems that are transparent and interpretable, ensuring that humans are ultimately in control and can intervene when necessary. So this brings me to my final and most important point, right? Achieving this positive vision is a task far too large for computer scientists and engineers alone. It will take a massive cross-disciplinary effort and a coalition of our best minds. We need ethicists, sociologists, artists, policymakers, and economists, all working alongside technologists to imagine and architect this utopian future we desire. So the future of AI won't be something that happens to us. it will be something we choose to create. And by putting human values at the absolute center of this technological revolution, I'm optimistic we can choose wisely.
Daniel, you've given us so much to think about. I can't wait for your keynote. Thank you
Thank
so much for being on the Tech Arena. One final question for you. I'm sure that the audience enjoyed this conversation as well. Where can they engage with you to continue the dialogue?
Feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. I can also kind of point out like some resources if people are interested in, a couple ones that I kind of touch on. So for high level research and policy insights, like Stanford HAI Index report is arguably the most comprehensive annual report on the state of AI. So I read that report every year. It's very beneficial. NIST, which I talked about, the AI risk management framework, for those who are interested in the kind of practical aspect of standards and framework, that's a great source. And finally, uh, UNESCO's Global Observatory on AI Ethics is a fantastic resource to get that global view of, the AI ethics and governance. And for kind of ongoing learning, I think all the top, AI labs, Google DeepMind, OpenAI, Microsoft Research AI, Alan Turing Institute, they all have fantastic research kind of resources on their research website to kind of share with the public, what they've been doing. And finally, trying to keep up to date on what's happening, the news. I rely on the Batch. This is a weekly newsletter from um, true AI pioneer, Andrew Yang.
Mhm.
And it provides thoughtful analysis of most important AI news on a weekly basis. So that's how to kind of keep up to date. And finally, if someone wants to, like, I often recommend a fun foundational non-technical course in AI. I also often recommend Andrew Ying's AI for Everyone course on Coursera. It's a great resource to get a kind of foundational understanding without the technical nitty gritty about AI.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It was so much fun
It's
talking
my
to you.
pleasure. Yes. Thank you, Allyson, for having me, and I'm excited about this year's summit and can't wait. Thank you again for your time.